All right, so you're prepping for a mine ventilation engineer interview,
Okay.
and you want to make sure you absolutely nail it.
Of course.
That's where this deep dive comes in.
All right.
We've got a stack of resources from RoleCatcher,
Huh.
career guides,
Yeah.
interview guides,
Okay.
all geared toward helping you land this role.
Sounds good.
It's not just about knowing the answers.
Right.
It's about understanding what the interviewer is really looking for.
What's so fascinating is we can use these resources to anticipate the questions they might ask.
Exactly.
And then we can help you craft responses that highlight your skills and experience
Yes.
in the best possible light.
Okay, let's unpack this.
All right.
First things first, what does a mine ventilation engineer actually do?
Well, they're essentially responsible for designing,
Okay.
implementing, and managing the ventilation systems in mines
Got it.
to ensure a safe and healthy working environment for everyone underground.
Okay.
This means ensuring proper airflow,
Yeah.
controlling temperature and humidity,
Right.
and most importantly, removing harmful gases and dust.
So it's not just about moving air around.
No, not at all.
It's about understanding the complex science behind creating a safe and breathable atmosphere
Absolutely.
in a challenging environment.
Yes, and that's what makes this role so critical.
Yeah.
Especially with the ever-increasing focus on safety regulations in the mining industry.
RoleCatcher's Career Guide highlights the job outlook for mine ventilation engineers,
Okay.
projecting a 4% growth rate over the next decade.
Wow.
That's a pretty solid indicator of the demand for this type of expertise.
It is, and as the industry evolves, the need for skilled professionals who can leverage technology and adapt to new challenges will only continue to grow.
Now let's dive into the interview itself.
Right.
RoleCatcher provides a ton of sample interview questions. So let's walk through some of the most common ones
Okay.
and how you can best approach them.
Sounds good.
Let's start with one that you're almost guaranteed to hear. Okay. Can you describe your experience with designing and implementing ventilation systems?
This feels like a chance to showcase your practical experience.
Yes.
And demonstrate your understanding of the entire ventilation process.
Absolutely. The interviewer is looking for specifics here.
Yes. Don't just tell them you've designed ventilation systems.
Right.
Walk them through actual projects you've worked on,
Okay.
highlighting the challenges you faced,
Yeah.
the solutions you developed, and the results you achieved.
So, for example, instead of just saying, I used ventilation software,
Right.
you could say, I use X software to model airflow
Okay.
and determine the optimal placement of ventilation shafts for a project with Y challenges,
Yeah.
which resulted in Z improvement in air quality.
That's a great example.
Yeah.
It shows you can connect your technical skills to tangible outcomes,
Right.
which is exactly what the interviewer wants to hear.
Now, what about follow-up questions?
Oh.
Let's say they ask you to elaborate on a specific challenge you mentioned. What are some things to keep in mind?
Be prepared to go deeper.
Okay.
Explain why that particular challenge was significant,
Right.
the different approaches you considered, and the rationale behind your chosen solution.
Okay.
This is a chance to showcase your problem-solving skills and ability to think critically under pressure.
And I imagine having a portfolio with visual aids,
Oh, definitely.
like diagrams or simulations,
Yeah.
could really make your experience come to life for the interviewer.
Absolutely. A portfolio is a powerful tool
Mhm.
for showcasing your work
Yeah.
and making a lasting impression.
Okay, let's move on to another common question.
Right.
Could you explain your knowledge of mine ventilation software and tools?
This is where you showcase your technical proficiency.
Yes.
Don't just list software programs.
Of course.
Demonstrate your understanding of how to use them effectively.
Okay.
For example, you could say, I'm proficient in X software, which I use to analyze airflow patterns and optimize ventilation design for a project with unique geological formations.
It's all about connecting the tools to real-world applications.
Exactly.
And showing you can select the right tool for the job.
Precisely. Now, here's a potential follow-up.
Okay.
Have you ever had to choose between different software packages for a project?
Oh.
How did you make that decision?
Ooh, that's a good one.
It's digging deeper into your decision-making process and ability to evaluate different options.
Exactly. You could explain how you weighed the pros and cons of each software,
Right.
considering factors like functionality,
Yeah.
cost, compatibility with existing systems,
Yeah,
and the specific needs of the project.
exactly.
RoleCatcher's AI can actually be a game changer when it comes to preparing for questions like this.
I think so too.
You can use it to analyze specific job descriptions
Yeah.
and identify the software skills they're really looking for.
That's right. And then you can use RoleCatcher to practice your answers
Exactly.
and get feedback on how to tailor them even further to match those specific requirements.
It's like having a personal interview coach.
It really is.
Okay, let's tackle another one.
Right.
How do you ensure ventilation systems are operating effectively and efficiently?
This is about showcasing your process
Mm-hmm.
and attention to detail.
Okay.
The interviewer wants to understand how you approach monitoring,
Right.
maintenance, and continuous improvement.
So this isn't just about design.
No.
It's also about the ongoing management and optimization of the ventilation system
Yes,
once it's in place.
precisely. You could talk about your process for regular system checks,
Okay.
the key metrics you monitor, like airflow rates,
Mhm.
temperature, humidity, and air quality,
Yeah.
and how you use that data to identify potential issues
Okay.
and make adjustments.
I bet they'll also want to hear about your troubleshooting skills, right?
Of course.
Like, what do you do when something goes wrong?
Absolutely. Be prepared to walk them through a specific example of a time you identified and resolved a ventilation problem.
Okay.
Explain how you diagnosed the root cause,
Uh-huh.
the steps you took to fix it,
Yeah.
and the preventative measures you implemented to prevent similar issues from occurring in the future.
And this is where RoleCatcher's feedback feature can be really helpful.
I agree.
You can record yourself answering this type of question
Mm-hmm.
and get AI-powered insights on how to make your story more compelling, concise, and impactful.
It's like having a second pair of eyes
Yes.
to help you refine your answers
Right?
and make sure you're hitting all the right notes.
Okay, let's move on to another important question.
Right.
Can you discuss your experience with conducting ventilation surveys and assessments?
This is where you demonstrate your practical experience in evaluating the effectiveness of ventilation systems.
So it's not just about theoretical knowledge.
Yeah.
It's about being able to go into a mine
Yeah.
and actually assess the system in action.
Exactly. Highlight the types of surveys you've conducted, the equipment you've used,
Yeah.
and the data you've collected. Be specific about the challenges you've encountered,
Mm-hmm.
the methodologies you've employed,
Yeah.
and the recommendations you've made based on your findings.
And here's where your understanding of relevant regulations and safety standards really comes into play.
Absolutely. You want to showcase your ability to not only identify potential hazards,
Right.
but also provide practical solutions to mitigate those risks and ensure compliance.
I can imagine a potential follow-up question here could be,
Okay.
tell me about a time a ventilation survey revealed a serious safety issue.
Okay.
How did you handle it?
That's a great example.
Yeah.
It allows you to showcase your ability to act decisively, communicate effectively, and prioritize safety above all else.
And this is another area where RoleCatcher can help you tailor your answers to the specific company and their operation.
Oh, for sure.
You can research their safety records, any past incidents they've had,
Yeah.
and their overall approach to risk management.
By incorporating this company-specific knowledge into your answers,
Right.
you can demonstrate that you've done your homework
Yes.
and are genuinely invested in their values and priorities.
All right. I think we've covered some solid ground here.
Okay.
In the next part of this deep dive,
Yeah.
we'll continue exploring common interview questions for mine ventilation engineers.
Sounds good.
But we'll shift our focus to those tricky behavioral questions that often throw people off.
Stay tuned. Welcome back to our deep dive into acing your mine ventilation engineer interview.
In this part, we're shifting gears to tackle those tricky behavioral questions.
Yeah, the ones interviewers love to throw in.
Yeah, they're not about testing your technical knowledge.
No.
They're designed to assess your soft skills,
Right.
your personality, and how you handle real-world situations.
It's about getting a sense of who you are as a person,
Yes.
how you work with others, and how you approach challenges.
Okay, so let's start with a classic.
Okay.
Tell me about a time you faced a challenging situation at work.
Okay.
How did you handle it?
This one comes up in almost every interview.
Yeah, I think so.
Regardless of the field, it's all about showcasing your problem-solving skills,
Right.
your resilience,
All right.
and your ability to think on your feet.
The key here is to choose a story that's relevant to the role you're interviewing for.
Yes, don't just tell a generic story about overcoming a challenge.
Okay.
Choose one that highlights skills and qualities that are directly applicable to mine ventilation engineering.
So, for example, you could talk about a time you had to troubleshoot a ventilation system malfunction
Yeah.
under pressure.
Oh.
Or a time you had to come up with a creative solution to improve airflow
Right.
in a complex mining environment.
Exactly. And when you're telling your story,
Uh-huh.
be sure to structure it in a way that's clear and engaging.
Right.
Start by setting the scene.
Yeah.
Describe the situation and the challenges you faced. Then walk them through the specific steps you took to address the problem,
Go.
highlighting your thought process and decision-making abilities.
And don't forget to emphasize the positive outcome.
Yes, of course.
How did your actions resolve the situation? What did you learn from the experience?
Those are crucial elements to include
Yeah.
because they demonstrate your ability to not only overcome challenges, but also learn and grow from them.
RoleCatcher can actually help you refine these types of stories
I agree.
by providing feedback on your delivery and word choices.
Okay.
You can practice answering the question,
Uh-huh.
record yourself,
Hmm.
and then get AI-powered insights on how to make your story even more compelling and impactful.
It's a fantastic tool for honing your storytelling skills.
Yes.
And ensuring you're conveying your experiences in a way that resonates with the interviewer.
Okay, let's move on to another common behavioral question.
Right.
Describe a time you had to work as part of a team to achieve a goal.
Okay.
What was your role, and what were the challenges and successes?
This one's all about teamwork and collaboration.
Yeah.
Mine ventilation engineers rarely work in isolation.
Right.
So the interviewer wants to see that you can effectively communicate, contribute to a shared vision,
Yeah.
and navigate the dynamics of a team environment.
So when choosing a story for this question,
Okay.
think about a project that involved collaboration with other engineers, technicians, or even management.
Right.
Highlight your specific role within the team
Okay.
and how you effectively interacted with your colleagues.
It's important to showcase your ability to both lead and follow, depending on the situation.
Right.
Were you the one driving the project forward, or were you supporting others in their roles?
And don't shy away from discussing the challenges you faced as a team.
Of course not.
This shows that you're realistic and understand that teamwork isn't always smooth sailing.
Exactly. Did you encounter disagreements or conflicts?
Yeah.
How did you approach those situations? What did
Wow.
you learn from those experiences?
These are all valuable insights that the interviewer is looking for.
And here's where RoleCatcher can come in handy again.
Okay.
You can use it to research the company's culture and get a sense of how they approach teamwork and collaboration.
Right.
This can help you tailor your story to align with their values and expectations.
Okay, let's tackle another question that often makes people squirm.
Okay.
Tell me about a time you made a mistake at work.
All right.
What did you learn from it?
This question can be a bit nerve-wracking,
Yeah.
but it's actually a great opportunity to show your self-awareness, humility, and ability to learn and grow.
Yeah, I agree.
Everyone makes mistakes.
For sure.
It's how we handle them that matters.
The key here is to choose a mistake that had a real impact,
Okay.
but that you were able to learn from.
Right.
Don't try to downplay or minimize the mistake.
No.
Be honest about what happened
Yeah.
and the consequences of your actions.
Then focus on the steps you took to correct the mistake and the lessons you learned from the experience.
Okay.
How did you prevent similar mistakes from happening again?
Right.
What insights did you gain about yourself and your work process?
This shows that you're not afraid to take responsibility.
Yeah.
You're committed to continuous improvement,
Uh-huh.
and you value feedback and learning opportunities.
And this is another area where RoleCatcher can help you practice and refine your answer.
Okay.
The AI feedback can provide insights on how to frame the story in a way that's both authentic and positive.
Okay, let's shift gears to a question that assesses your communication skills.
Right.
Describe a time you had to explain a complex technical concept to someone who wasn't familiar with the subject.
Okay.
How did you ensure they understood?
This question is particularly relevant for mine ventilation engineers who often need to communicate technical information to non-technical audiences, such as miners, managers, or government officials.
It's about demonstrating your ability to translate complex concepts into clear and concise language that anyone can understand.
When choosing a story for this question, think about a time you had to break down a technical topic related to mine ventilation. Perhaps explaining airflow patterns, risk assessments, or safety protocols.
Highlight the specific techniques you use to make the information accessible.
Okay.
Did you use analogies,
Yeah.
visual aids, or real-world examples?
And how did you gauge their understanding?
Right.
Did you ask clarifying questions?
Mm-hmm.
Did you invite them to rephrase the concept in their own words?
These are all good points to mention.
Yeah.
Because they show that you're not just talking at people.
Right.
You're engaging with them. And ensuring they truly grasp the information.
And remember, you can use RoleCatcher to practice this type of scenario.
Yes.
And get feedback on your communication style and clarity.
Okay, let's move on to a question that assesses your conflict resolution skills.
All right.
Tell me about a time you had to deal with a difficult coworker or client. How did you handle the situation?
This question is designed to see how you navigate interpersonal challenges and maintain professionalism under pressure.
It's about showing that you can handle disagreements or conflicts in a constructive and respectful manner without letting emotions get the better of you.
When choosing a story for this question, avoid placing blame or speaking negatively about the other person involved.
Right.
Focus on your own actions and how you contributed to a positive resolution.
Did you actively listen to their perspective?
Okay.
Did you try to find common ground? Did you communicate your own needs and boundaries in a clear and assertive way?
These are all positive qualities that demonstrate your maturity and your ability to navigate challenging interpersonal dynamics.
And here's where researching the company's culture can really pay off.
I agree.
If you have a sense of their values and approach to conflict resolution, you can tailor your story to align with those expectations.
Yeah, exactly. For example, if they prioritize open communication and collaboration, you might want to highlight a time you facilitated a constructive conversation to resolve a disagreement.
Okay, let's explore a question that digs into your initiative and problem-solving skills.
Right.
Tell me about a time you identified a problem that wasn't directly related to your job responsibilities.
Okay.
What did you do about it?
This question is designed to see if you're proactive, if you're willing to go above and beyond, and if you have a solutions-oriented mindset.
It's about showing that you're not just task-oriented.
Right.
You're actively looking for ways to improve things and make a positive impact, even if it falls outside your immediate responsibilities.
Choose a story that demonstrates your ability to identify a problem, analyze it, and take initiative to find a solution.
It could be a time you identified a safety hazard, improved a process, or came up with a new idea that benefited the company or your team.
Be clear about the steps you took, the challenges you faced, and the positive outcome you achieved.
And don't be afraid to highlight your creative thinking or your ability to think outside the box.
Yeah, this question is a great opportunity to showcase your passion for the field and your willingness to go the extra mile.
All right, let's tackle one final behavioral question for this section.
Okay.
Tell me about a time you had to make a difficult decision with limited information.
All right.
How did you approach the situation?
This question is designed to assess your decision-making skills, your ability to analyze information, and your comfort with ambiguity.
It's about demonstrating that you can make sound judgments under pressure.
Yes.
Even when you don't have all the answers.
Choose a story that showcases your ability to weigh different options, assess risks, and make a decision based on the best available information.
Explain the situation, the challenges you faced, and the process you used to gather information, and evaluate your choices.
Be sure to highlight the factors you considered, the potential consequences you weighed, and the rationale behind your final decision.
And don't forget to discuss the outcome.
Right.
And what you learned from the experience. Did the decision turn out as you expected? If not, what adjustments did you have to make?
This shows that you're not only capable of making tough calls, but you're also willing to reflect on your decisions and learn from the outcomes.
And remember, RoleCatcher can be an invaluable resource for practicing these behavioral questions.
I agree.
And refining your answers. The AI feedback can provide insights on how to structure your stories, emphasize key points, and make a lasting impression on the interviewer.
It's like having a virtual mentor guiding you every step of the way.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
In the final part of this deep dive. We'll shift our focus to the importance of asking thoughtful questions. At the end of the interview. Those final impressions that can make all the difference.
Stay tuned.
Welcome back. We talked about the technical skills, the behavioral questions, but there's one more crucial element to acing your mind ventilation engineer interview.
It's that moment at the end when the interviewer asks, "Do you have any questions for me?"
Oh, yeah, that part.
This is your chance to shine not just as a candidate, but as someone who's genuinely thoughtful and engaged.
It's so easy to get caught up in just trying to answer their questions perfectly.
Right, you're so focused on that.
But having good questions of your own shows, you're curious, proactive, and already thinking about how you'd fit into the team.
Exactly. And remember, an interview is a two-way street.
Yes.
You're not just trying to impress them. You're also gathering information to decide if this is the right role and company for you.
Okay, so what kind of questions make a good impression?
Well, let's start with some that demonstrate your interest in the company and their specific operations.
Okay, like what?
You could ask, what are some of the biggest challenges facing the mine ventilation team right now?
Okay.
Or, I read about your new initiative to improve air quality monitoring. Can you tell me more about that?
Those are great examples. They show you've done your research and you're thinking about how your skills could contribute to their specific needs.
And you can also ask questions that show you're thinking about your own career growth and development.
Okay, what would those be?
For example, what are some opportunities for professional development within the company?
Okay.
Or do you offer mentorship programs for engineers?
Oh, those are excellent. It shows you're ambitious and invested in your long-term career trajectory.
And don't forget about questions related to the company culture and work environment.
Oh, right, of course.
You could ask, how would you describe the team dynamic within the mine ventilation department? Or what does the company do to foster a strong safety culture?
Those are crucial, after all. You're not just looking for a job. You're looking for a place where you can thrive and feel valued.
Now remember, the way you ask these questions matters just as much as the questions themselves.
How so?
It's all about being genuinely curious and engaged. Make eye contact, listen attentively to their responses, and maybe even jot down a few notes.
Oh, that makes sense.
It shows you're taking the conversation seriously and genuinely interested in what they have to say.
Okay, and speaking of final impressions, let's talk about the importance of follow-up after the interview.
Yes, sending a thank you note is a simple but powerful gesture that shows your appreciation for their time and reinforces your interest in the position.
And RoleCatcher can actually help you draft personalized thank you notes, tailored to the specific company and the details you discussed during the interview.
It's a great way to ensure you're hitting all the right notes and leaving a lasting impression.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. We've explored the role of a mine ventilation engineer, delved into those challenging interview questions, and shared tips on how to make a lasting impression.
You've got the knowledge, the tools, and the strategies to walk into that interview with confidence and showcase your expertise.
Remember, preparation is key practice. Your answers, research the company, and use the resources at your disposal, like RoleCatcher, to refine your approach.
But most importantly, be yourself. Let your passion for mine ventilation engineering shine through and approach the interview as a conversation, not an interrogation.
And even if you don't land this particular role, the insights you've gained from this deep dive will serve you well in future interviews and throughout your career.
So go out there, crush those interviews, and find that perfect role where you can make a real difference in the world of mining.
And until next time, keep diving deep.